Okay, spin stream now. Let me bring the PowerPoint here. Okay, guys, do you have any other questions before we start? All questions? Nope.
Nope.
Nope, no question.
Okay. So let me. So today we're going to talk about Azure pricing and support. Okay, it's a short module, but it's an important one. Okay, because in every single exam you'll see Azure support plans, the developer, basic developer, enterprise, of those plans that are so important when you sign up with Azure, and you have to choose a plan. In our case, we chose the basic one, which basically has nothing. It's just free for 12 months. But some companies, they have a more expensive plan that has features that they need for the business. Okay. So the learning objectives for this lesson is understand and describe Microsoft Azure subscriptions and management groups. Recognize ways to plan and manage Azure costs. Understand Azure support options, and understand and describe features of Azure Service Level Agreement, also known as SLAs, and understand and describe the service lifecycle in Azure. Yes.
Professor, we can't see the slides.
You can see the slides because I haven't shared the screen. Sorry about that. I am automatically set up to start this. One moment. So, can you see it now?
Yes, thank you.
So these are the objectives for today. All right. So the lesson two is going to be Azure subscriptions. All right. In your case right now, you have the one that we know, Azure Subscription 1. That's the one that you have now. That's the free one. Okay. There's another one, pay as you go, but that's the paid subscription, the one that if you want to continue using services with Azure, then you have to convert your account to a paid account, and that's going to be the usual subscription that people use is pay as you go. The other subscriptions, like the one that you have right now, is the student subscription. Okay, that only has $100 as credit, and some people in this class, including me, we are using the free subscription, which is the one that has $200 credit, but that one requires a credit card. The one that you guys have don't require a credit card. Those are for students, okay? And supposedly students don't have money because they're studying. That's the idea behind it. Okay, they try to help students. So we have a subscription here. We have an Azure account, right? So we have 3 subscriptions: one for development, one for testing, and one for production, right? So that's the way that subscription work. An account can have multiple subscriptions, right? But a subscription can have multiple accounts. So it only works from the account to the subscription. So you can have several subscriptions, but a subscription can have several accounts. Okay. So an Azure subscription provides you with an authenticated and authorized access to Azure accounts. So you have to have a username and a password to be able to access your subscription. Okay. And it's going to be used for every single resource that you create. So you can choose, in our case, we only have one subscription, but when you have several, then when you create a resource, right? When you create a resource, you have to select the subscription that you are using for that resource. Let's say that you are creating a virtual machine for development, then you will choose the development subscription. If you're creating a virtual machine for testing, then you will use the subscription for testing. So that's how it works. So subscription can provide billing and access control boundaries. So you can know what this particular subscription is spending, how much they're spending on resources. And an account can have one subscription or multiple subscriptions. That's what I said. In this case, you have an account with 3 subscriptions. Now, here we have several offers, okay, subscription offers. We have the free, which is in the next slide, right? Is the one that is 2 months free. It has $200 for credit, and it has 25 plus services that are free, always free. So you got to see which services are always free and which services are only free during this free trial for 12 months. Okay, so that's something that you have to bear in mind. You also have the pay-as-you-go, as I mentioned. It's for a team of active Visual Studio subscribers to run development, test workloads on Microsoft Azure, providing discounted rates on Windows virtual machines and access to exclusive images in the Azure gallery. Many people that teach this class on a Udemy, for example, they have this subscription. They pay as they're making so much money because, you know, they charge you guys like $10 for the course, but they have 20,000 students. So can you imagine? Even if they charge you $5, they're making $100,000 right off the bat for charging you $5. Of course, Udemy takes their cut. They charge you a fee, but don't charge $5, charge $8. And still you're gonna have a lot of students. And when Udemy takes their share, you have made $100,000. That's well, they have to work a lot because they, to create a course, they have to research and have the right personnel, the right information, and be on top of the technology and the updates that Microsoft is constantly creating. Okay, so you also have the enterprise agreement. That's another subscription. You have the student one, which is the one that you have right now, students. An account can have one subscription or multiple subscriptions. This is one for Visual Studio Enterprise. That's another one. Okay, one moment. Do you guys know Visual Studio? If you're a developer, you would know about Visual Studio. If you like to create HTML files or create files in Python or YAML or JSON, Visual Studio is a very comprehensive IDE platform for developing. Okay, it has several flavors like the Bespoke and Professional, and they also have the free version, which is the one that many people use, including me, for developing. Okay. Guys, if you see an important question in the chat, let me know, because I'm not aware of all the messages. Yes, Eric is my favorite too. Visual Studio is my favorite too. And also my Visual Studio is customized. So I put some plugins and things like that, and I changed the color, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It has a lot of integrations. You can still commit your changes to GitHub from the. You can manipulate your CLI from the Visual Studio, the CLI in the computer. It's super, super, super integrated. I like it. All right. So Azure free account, it has 12 months of popular free services, right? And it gives you 200 credit dollars. I don't know how yours is. My credit is going down is going down. I don't know why. I have to check that. Probably I leave some resources running. I don't know. I like Atom, but I think it's very limited compared to Visual Studio. Atom is good. Atom is good too, but I think that Visual Studio is the king. All right, it's my opinion. Okay, so you have some services that are always free. Okay, and that's something that when you look for the limits, because you're gonna have limitations, right, in the free account, you can check the box that says always free. Okay, and then it's gonna give you all the services. There are 25 or more services. Okay, so they give you $200 to explore any Azure service for 30 days, and over 25 services are free. At the end of the trial, you can upgrade to pay as you go pricing. Okay, so why they give you $200? Because you're gonna explore the services, and some of them are paid, right? But Azure has your back because you have $200. But after that, the $200 are gone for 30 days. They're gone after 30 days. You can still use the account, but you have to use the free services. Okay? If you want to use the services that are not free, for example, a virtual machine is not free, then you have to convert your account to a paid account. Okay? Management groups. All right, this is a way to organize your account. I don't know if you guys remember organizations in AWS. The organizations is when you organize your accounts under a root account. This is the same thing. It's very similar, right? Management groups, you can have under that, you have your account, and then in your account, you have a management group. And then under a group, you can have several subscriptions, you can have several resources, you can have several resource groups, and inside the resource groups, you can have resources, right? So the way it works is, there is a hierarchy, right? You start from the subscription, then below that subscription, beneath that umbrella of the subscription, you have the resource groups, and beneath the umbrella of the resource groups, you have the resources. That's the way it works, right? So a management group can include multiple Azure subscriptions, right? Subscriptions inherit conditions applied to the management groups. Whatever policy you apply to the management group, whatever enforcement you apply to the management group is gonna, move down and affect all the resources, subscriptions, resource groups are under that management group. Everything's going to be affected, right? So if 10,000 management groups can be supported in a single directory, imagine 10,000 groups. That's a lot, right? So management group 3 can support up to 6 levels of depth. So you can have one subscription, and that subscription you can have another subscription, and then inside that a subscription you can have several resource groups, and then that inside that resource group you can have a lot of in like 6 levels in depth. Okay, so similar to organizations in AWS, very similar. So let me show you. Let me just grab this. Let me show you this guy here. And let me copy this guy here. One moment. So you have the management groups here. Okay, it's a hierarchy of management groups and subscriptions. So you have here this particular department, human resources, right? You have the root management group. So you have another management group here, human resources, right? And then you have IT here, marketing, subscription EA, subscription EA. So you have two subscription here. And then inside this management group of human resources, you have another management group, which is apps, and you have another subscription. Okay. And then you have here, you have this management group, production, and then inside production, you have this management group for Geo Region 1, and then Geo Region 2, right? And then you have two subscription here on this one, and then subscription here. But don't forget that there's a subscription here in the account, in the main account, okay? So you're gonna have a subscription inside. Whenever you create an account, you have to have a subscription. So you may have several subscription inside, and it goes down up to 6 levels of depth. Okay, depth, not death, depth. Okay, no one is dying here. Okay, so I'm gonna put this in the chat, so you guys can have this particular, yes, depth, not death. Oh my God, it's only a P. The difference is a P, just depth. Okay, you understood, guys. Okay, so you have there the link is on the chat. Okay, so that's how it works. So lesson 3 is going to be planning and managing costs. All right, so you purchase an Azure product and services, and the 3 main customer types of which the available purchasing options for Azure products and services are contingent are enterprise. Okay, that's an offering. Okay, so enterprise customers, they sign an enterprise agreement. They have to sign an agreement with Azure, and then they make a commitment to spend a negotiated amount on Azure services with which they typically pay annually. Okay, remember the terms is 1 year or 3 years, right? So you have to have you are here practically reserving resources, and when you reserve, what happens to your cost? Does it go down or go up? When you reserve.
When you reserve, the cost goes down.
Right. It's like any subscription or paid account. So you pay every month, you're gonna pay $20, and that's gonna be $240 a year, right? But if you pay the entire year, probably you pay $200. So you're saving money. Why? Because when you pay monthly, and that makes sense, because when you pay monthly, the company still doesn't have your money. You're paying monthly. But when you pay the entire year, the company already has the money, so it's guaranteed that the year has been paid for, right? So they incentivize you, and they give you discounts. Okay. There's something called Web Direct. Is what we did, guys. We signed up for Azure through the website. That's what we did when we created this account. And also they have Azure has companies called the cloud solution providers. These are people that are partners, like APM partners for AWS. Azure has the CSPs. They're guys that help you, and this is a company that you as a customer hire on top of Azure for you to be guided and helped and assisted in moving to the cloud, for example, migrating your services to the cloud, or calculating the pricing before you move to the cloud by using the total cost of ownership, for example. And also they help you, for example, with the pricing calculator, they help you understand your expenses every month and have a projection of your expenses for the next few months. So they help you. And all the billing and the payments are through this cloud solution provider. Okay, so Azure's gonna bill you through these guys. Okay, so they have their price, right? Azure bills them. They have their price. They'll bill you. Of course, they're making money. You know, their price is gonna be higher than Azure. But with Azure, you may be a little alone. You know, you may not have that much of a help. But with these guys, you have help, right? If you want to have help with Azure, then you would have to have the most expensive support plan that has a TAM, a technical account manager. It's a dedicated person for you, but that plan is expensive. Okay, so in the long run, these people, the cloud solution providers, may be of great help, right? So what are the factors affecting the cost? Let me check the chat because I see that some people posting. Okay, is that the Premier account? Yes, the one that is the most expensive one. We're going to talk about it. Okay. Let me see here. One moment. So we have the basic, developer, standard, and professional direct. Professional direct. So those are the support plans for Azure. We're going to talk about it. That's the one that, you see here. Yeah, correct. So we have the professional direct and the account, I don't know, for some reason the support plan page doesn't contain the Premier. Yeah, the Premier, there was the one that is the one that contains the account. Sorry?
I believe, isn't that what they call the professional direct? That's like the other name for that's like the Premier plan for AWS. I had a question about that in one of these exams.
Yeah.
Professional direct. And Premier was actually a choice, but it would have been wrong.
Yeah. And we have 5 plans in Azure: basic, developer, standard, professional direct, and Premier. Okay. But for some reason, the website gives you, the Azure website gives you only 4, which I don't understand why. Because there are 5, and the Premier is the one that contains, or the one that offers the 10. Okay. Let me see. Don't worry. I'm going to find the correct documentation for that. All right, let's continue. So what are the factors affecting the cost? So we have the resource type, what kind of resource you are creating. You know, if it is a virtual machine, a storage account, if it is a database, I don't know. Whatever resource you're creating, they have a specific cost, and that's gonna, you know, it's gonna affect the overall cost of your account. Okay. And something that you guys have to understand is that costs are resource specific. Okay, they are based on resources. And also something that you have to understand is that not every single availability zone has that service, and the services vary from region to region. The location is very important. Okay. So the usage that a meter tracks and the number of meters associated with the resource depend on the resource type. All right. So we can have this guy here. If we come to the portal, right? And I think I've shown you this before, guys. So we can obviously do cost management and billing. And then you can do some cost analysis, and it will tell you exactly, by the way, I have $190 left. So, we've been in class for almost a month, and I've almost only used $10, so that's fine. Of course, that's gonna disappear after 30 days. Okay, so so we have here by service. We can find here how much we have spent by service, storage, virtual machines, bandwidth, virtual network. By region, US East, $99, right? Of course, that is the sum of these two here. Okay. And the Azure subscription, it has a little bit more because it's entire account. And that's going to be the money that I have spent so far in my account. You may have more, you may have less. Some people have a lot of money. It depends on what resources you're using, right? So this is the dashboard where you can see your expenses, okay? By typing cost management. Okay? I think that if you put cost only, it shows here, okay? And if you put management, it will show here too, okay? So if you put analysis, no, it doesn't show that way, okay? But if you put billing, I believe it's going to show billing here, right? So 3 ways to find that by using just the words of the service: cost, management, or billing. Okay. The service Azure usage rates and billing periods can differ between enterprise, web direct, and CSP customers. Of course, they have a different price. Okay. A virtual machine that you use, guys, it's not going to be the same as a virtual machine that someone that is in the enterprise offering is going to have. It's not the same thing. Okay. Also, the location, the Azure infrastructure is globally distributed, and usage costs might vary between locations that offer Azure products, services, and resources. Like I said before, the value, the price of a particular service vary from region to region, okay, from location to location. You may not find the service in a specific availability zone, so you have to create your resource in another availability zone or another region, okay? Now, something that you have to understand, guys, this is not an availability zone, okay? This is zones for billing purposes only. This is for billing purposes only. This is a way that Azure has divided their infrastructure to be more organized when it comes to billing, okay? So the zone referred to here is different from the availability zone. Availability zones, don't forget, is the way that Azure has to provide high availability. Now, zones, in the context of billing, are geographical entities used for data transfer pricing between defined geographical areas called zones. Okay, so it's just a geographical grouping of Azure regions for billing purposes, right? Data transfer pricing is based on the zones. Zone 1, we have how many zones that Azure has? How many regions? I think I mentioned that. I mentioned that in the first class. How many regions does Azure have?
More than 60.
More than 60? More specific?
64.
64 plus. Okay, 64 plus, right? So this is not a region. This is not availability zone. So it may be confusing because the name is zone, but it's not an availability zone, right? So zone 1 is comprised of West US, East US, West Europe, and others. Zone 2, Australia, Central, Japan West, Central India, and others. Zone 3, Brazil, South only. D zone, demilitarized, right? Zone includes Germany Central and Germany Denmark, sorry, Denmark zone includes Germany and okay. Usually when you see DE, that's Germany. Okay, so it includes Germany Central and Germany Northeast. So this is not the only ones, right? These are not the only ones. It's just an example for you to see their zones for billing purposes. So that's very important. Understand that, guys. Okay, availability zones. Usually when you see availability zone, it's availability zone. 2 words, AZ. When you see zone alone and you see billing somewhere there, that's for billing purposes. Okay. The pricing calculator provides a detailed estimate of the cost associated with your infrastructure configuration. So let me see here. I think I have, let me see here. I just grabbed the link for the pricing calculator. Okay. So I think I have it here. So I have this guy here and I'm gonna post this link. It's super long. Okay. So bear with me with this long guy. Okay. So let's say that this is a fresh and new account. Let's say that I want to add, to have an idea of my pricing with virtual machine. I just click on it and it's going to add it. And it says down here, virtual machine added. Okay, view. I want to see the cost for storage account. I just click on it and it says storage accounts added. I want to see the prices for my Azure Cosmos DB added. So I click on view and then it shows me my resources here, right? And the cost that I have here. Okay. So in the case of my and your subscription, there's not much that we can see because it's not a paid subscription, right? So pricing calculator is more for the pay as you go or for the 1 year reserved capacity or 3 year capacity. Okay, so that's how it works. That's how it works for the pricing calculator. So you may choose a different region here if you want to. And it's going to give you the estimated monthly cost for all the resources that you're using, right?
I have a question. In terms of the storage, is it assuming that it's hot storage or cool storage?
Well, you have to create it. When you create it, you're the one that selects hot or cold or cool.
But in terms of the pricing, what is it assuming for the pricing? Is it assuming it's hot, cool, or archive?
Like I said, you have to choose it, and then based on that, you're going to be charged. Remember, cool, it looks like it's cheaper, but it's not, because it's not going to cost you to store it, but it's going to cost you retrieve it. When you retrieve the resource or the information from that archive, it's going to cost you more than retrieving it from a hot storage. So as soon as you select cool or hot, you start being billed, because that's the way it is. And then based on that selection, let me create a storage account here. Let me come here to storage account. I think this one is, okay. Let me create one. You see here, as soon as you select this, then based on this, you're going to be charged. And of course, based on the amount of gigabytes and storage you're consuming, right? But this one is it's good because you can retrieve your information immediately. If you see it that way, it's going to be, you think it's going to be more expensive because you get it right away. But if you select cool, it's going to be cheaper in the sense that you can store it for less money, but when it's the time of retrieving the information, it's going to be more expensive than hot. I don't know if you guys understand. Let me see if I can show it to you visually. Difference between cool and hot storage account in Azure. And of course, the cool is for data that is infrequently accessed, and hot is for data that is frequently accessed, right? Now, Azure Storage offers different access tiers, which allow you to store blob object data in the most cost-effective manner. Hot, optimized for storing data that is accessed frequently. Cool, optimized for storing data that is infrequently accessed and stored for at least 30 days. Now I need to see the price. And also something that you need to understand, guys, is that whatever storage you choose here, the price is going to vary too. Okay? So storage V2, general purpose V2, storage general purpose V1. Azure recommends this one because it's the latest one that has more features than this one. And you also have blob storage. Okay? So your price is going to be determined based on this as well. Okay? Now, let me see if I can see more information here. I need to see the pricing for this. Exactly what I said. It says here, the archive access tier has the lowest storage cost, but it has higher data retrieval cost compared to the hot and cool tiers. Okay, so we have hot, cool, archive. Okay, so you can archive my files. It's gonna be cheap compared to the other two, but when it comes to retrieving the information, that's going to be much higher than the other two. Okay, because it takes more time, right? For the other ones, it's real quick, and for this one it's super slow compared to the other ones. Okay. So the hot has the highest storage cost than cool and archive tier because you're having all the information just at the tip of your hands, right? Of your fingers. But it has the lowest access cost. Okay? So why? Because it's fast. It's fast. You have it there. Right? It has the higher storage cost, but the lowest access cost. So it's just a balance. I think it's a balance. You store it there, okay? So, guys, what you need to understand is the cooler it is, the more expensive it's going to be to access the information. Okay? That's the way it is. Hot has the highest storage cost because it's hot, right? But when you come to access it, is cheaper than the other ones. Okay. Now, cool has a lower, right? has a lower storage cost than hot, right? But it has a higher access cost compared to the hot. Now, archive has the lowest storage cost, but it has the highest access cost. Okay, so all your billing is going to be based on whatever you choose here, right? And also how replication is going to be, how redundant your information is going to be based on your selection, and also the type of storage that we use, the kind of account that we're selecting. Everything is going to be there based on that. If it is standard performance or if it is premium. So it's going to take into account all of these factors to then give you a price monthly. Okay.
What does standard and premium performance mean in that context?
Okay, standard is more features, faster than, I mean, not faster, slower than premium. Okay.
So that's in addition to the whole hot and cool thing.
Yeah. Everything thing here plays a role here. Standard, premium, storage, the redundancy, and the cool and hot. All of these 4 factors, they affect the cost. Okay, I think it's the combination that we have to sit down and analyze, because I'm not sure how Azure consider all these 4 combined. Because you may choose standard, B1, and you can choose, there's a lot of combinations here, geo. And here you can choose, in these guys, we don't have either cool or hot for this combination. Okay, so I may have this V2, right? And locally, instead of locally, I can choose standard. Locally, I can choose geo, and then I have this guy. So when you select V1, it loses the feature of hot and cool. It loses that because V1 has the oldest version of this general purpose. But if you have V2, then this shows here. A standard performance tier for storing blobs, files, tables, queues, and Azure Virtual Machine Disk. A premium performance tier for storing unmanaged virtual machines disk. Microsoft recommends using managed disk with Azure Virtual Machines instead of a managed. So Azure recommends standard, and that's the one that most people choose when they create that. Why? Because managed is something that you have control of. Unmanaged, you don't have any control. Okay. Premium storage stores data on the latest technology. You know, it's more sophisticated. And solid state drives, SSDs, whereas standard storage stores HDD. Of course, this is less sophisticated, okay, and less fast. This one is faster, and of course, it's going to be more expensive than the standard. But Azure, just for the sake of saving money and more control over your account, they recommend the standard, okay? Because it contains the managed disks. Okay, but if it comes to, you know, performance, all that, then the premium is the one to go. So this is an image of the pricing calculator. So it tells you when you add the virtual machine, it tells you the region, the operating system, the type, if it is only operating system only, the tier if it is standard, and then the instance, temporary storage, and how much it's going to be per hour. Okay, it says here 188.57 a month. Okay. So the total cost of ownership calculator, what is that? For example, when you buy a car, right? When you buy a car, you think that the cost of your car is going to be whatever the bank gives you if you're financing the car. Wrong. The cost of the car is going to be whatever the bank loans you, plus the insurance, plus any additional feature that that car has. That's going to be the total cost of ownership. Is all the money that is going to cost you to own that car. Okay? You have to pay insurance monthly. That's going to be part of your total cost of ownership of the car. So whenever you want or you're planning to move to the cloud, this is a very helpful tool to help you understand how much money you're going to spend on the cloud once you move. So it can give you a comparison, a side-by-side comparison of your expenses in the on-premises and your expenses in the cloud. Okay? So that's the main purpose of the total cost of ownership calculator, also known as TCO. Okay? So it's going to help you estimate the cost savings when you can realize by migrating to Azure. A report compares the cost of on-premises infrastructure with the cost of Azure products and services in the cloud. Here you have on-premises, it costs you $30,702. Well, actually not 30,000, $30 million. Wow, that's a lot of money. $30,702,495. And on Azure is going to cost you $595,618. So you're saving probably 6 times, more or less, probably 5 times what it costs you in the. So basically, in the on-premise is going to cost you 5 times more than in the cloud. So that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Okay. Okay. So that's an idea how much you can save if you move to the cloud. So and unfortunately, this is something that people, business owners don't understand yet. Okay, because there's no one that can explain to them. Okay. And probably, guys, you work for a company. Probably, if you understand Azure better, maybe you can talk your bosses into this, and probably they understand, and they might consider moving to the cloud. Okay, so yeah, it's almost 500 times. Yeah. So you're saving 5 times that, more or less, a little bit, because it's almost 600,000. So more or less 5,000, 5 times. All right. So maybe you can relay the message to your supervisors and maybe talk them into moving to the cloud, and then use the the TCO with the developer or a solutions architect from Azure, and they can help you understand this from the business standpoint. And if they see these numbers, I don't think they're gonna doubt. With these numbers and statistics, and backed by numbers like this, I think that they may think and reconsider moving to the cloud. So you minimize the cost, perform cost analysis. You can use the Azure pricing calculator and TCO calculators. You can monitor usage with Azure Advisor, right? Remember, Azure Advisor is your cloud expert, right? That's going to give you recommendations about your limits, your security, your cost, all those components. You can use the spending limits, the free trial customers, and some credit-based Azure subscriptions is what you're using now, guys. You can use Azure reservation, or you can use a hybrid infrastructure. to save money, right? Of course, if you go to the cloud 100% all in, you're gonna save more. But some people are a little skeptical about the cloud and giving their access, their control to someone else. So they prefer to go on a hybrid model. Okay. So you can use low-cost locations or regions. So if there's a region, for example, Central U.S., once you compare the resources in Central U.S. and East U.S., and you see that East U.S. is cheaper than Central U.S., then you can go ahead and create your resources in a different location. Okay. Keep up to date with the latest Azure customer and subscription offers. Sometimes Azure has discounts, have incentives, and it's good to be up to date and understand that. And also, what we've been talking so far, and we've mentioned this so many times, use tagging to control your expenses, and you can have a better you can manipulate your expenses much better when using tagging. So Azure cost management, reporting, data enrichment, budget, alerting, recommendations. I'm sure that right now, if you take a look at your account, you're not going to see recommendations because you don't have Advisor. You don't have Advisor in your Azure subscription. If I show you mine, so if I show you here cost, right? There's no recommendations here anywhere. Okay. You see, there's no recommendations here because I don't have Advisor here, right? For Advisor, I can see the recommendations here, right? So I have one impacted this resource. You see, this guy is not free, only for 30 days. Trusted Advisor is a luxury. Okay. So you can have these guys here, cost, security, reliability, operational excellence, and performance. So those are the 5 factors that Advisor works on to give you recommendations. Okay. So alerting, you're not going to see alerting either. Okay. So if I go back to cost, I put cost here, and I get this guy here, I don't see alert anywhere here. Okay. So if you take a look here, you see cost analysis, recommendations, and clouding. Clouding is an extra, that's another resource that is outside Azure. It has to do with Azure, but it's not in the platform. So clouding is another guy that can help you manage your cloud platform and also your cost. You see, there's another third-party guy that Azure uses, right? Okay, so this can be this can be used with Google, AWS, and Azure. Okay. Clouding, of course, you have to pay for it. Let me see how much this is a month. I don't have an organization. But guys, this is not free. That's the bottom line of this. All right. Oh, so we have Azure support options. We have these 5 plans, right? So every Azure subscription includes free access to billing and subscription support, Azure products and services documentation. That's something that is free. Also, the online self-help documentation, that's what we use in class sometimes. The white papers is free as well, and community support. Okay, that's the general thing. That's what every single plan or subscription has. Okay, now the scope here of the basic developer, standard, professional, direct, and premier is the one that you see in the scope row record. Okay, the scope row. I'm sorry, not record, row. In AWS, you only have 4 plans. You have the basic, developer, business, and enterprise, right? But here we have 5 plans, right? For basic, it's only available to everybody. Okay, not only one person or one company is available to everybody. Anyone can open an account with Azure. Anyone, right? The developer is for trial and non-production environments, right? So you're developing, you're not in production, you're developing, you're testing, right? Your infrastructure, right? For standard, okay, is production workloads environment. This is now we enter the production section, right? For standard. Professional direct is for business critical dependence, and so is Premier, same thing, right? Now the technical support, this is the important part, because this is when people need help, right? When they're stuck on something, okay? So basic, you don't get any technical support, okay? You just have to play with the console, with the portal, and then just, try to figure it out, right? You don't have any technical support, right? Now, when it comes to developer, they have technical support via email only via email, because developers, they don't have an urgent necessity. They don't have an urgent matters, right? If a developer has a problem, I can talk to another developer and they can work together and figure it out, right? So, but standard, it has a 24/7 access to support via email and phone. That's more advanced, and this is they get more support here, more support. Now the professional direct gets exactly the same as the standard. It gets 24/7 access to support engineers, email and phone, right? And I don't see anyone here that has chat. All right, in the AWS support, they have chat. Again, we're back to comparison between the 2 cloud providers. Chat is very important, because it's faster, right? And phone, sometimes you got a long line before you, and then you have to wait. The same may happen with the chat, but it's more common on the phone. I don't know, for some reason. Maybe because many companies have more phone support than chat. And the Premier gets the same as the other guys, plus the TAM, the technical support, the technical account manager, right? And implementation assistance, just in case you need some help implementing some resources or techniques or infrastructure. They will help you do that. And I think there's no need to say, it's needless to say that the TAM makes a lot of money, because that's a person that, knows really what they're doing, because they have to have a lot of knowledge on the cloud. Okay. So that could be a good goal. It could be a good goal, guys, if you want to, get something, shoot high, aim high in Azure, try to become a TAM. That's very challenging. And I believe that the interview process must be really, really, really challenging. Support plans. So, like I said before, they don't mention Premier here. Okay. But this is more of a cost. You know, a Premier probably you have to call Azure and have a customized offer, probably. Right? So included for all Azure customers, $29 a month for the developer, $100 a month for standard, and $1,000 a month for professional direct, right? So I believe that for Premier probably is over the $10,000, more or less, probably a month. This is for our customers, trial and non-production environments, production, business critical dependence. That's what we saw. All right. So here we have more information. The other one in here, in the PowerPoint, we have just two rows of information. Here we have more. Okay. So this is something that you guys can probably later, when you have more time, you can read it and just try to understand it because it may show in your exam. Okay. Support plans are very, very important in every cloud exam. Okay. Because it all starts from there. You have to choose a plan when you move to the cloud. All right. You have to choose a plan. And at the end of the day, you're going to finish you're going to end up in one of these three because this one is only for 12 months. Right. So at the end of the day, you have to convert your account to a paid account. Okay. So I'm going to paste this guy in the chat. What time is it? It's 7:48. Okay. We still have time.
So Diuneski, and so according with this table, all the options has 24/7 and support, right? All of them has that have 24/7 days.
I don't think it's 24/7.
Yeah.
No, the support that you get is whatever is documented here. Well, actually, you get support from Stack Overflow, but Stack Overflow is not Azure.
No, but I'm talking about the table that you showed before in the slides. Well, here you see that 24/7 is checking in basic, developer, standard, and professional direct. So
but it says self-help resources, Microsoft Learn, Azure, how-to videos, documentation, community support. So all the resources have this. Okay, every single plan is like. Let me show you the PowerPoint again.
Yes, please.
Every single plan has. Look at here. Every single plan has free access to billing.
Okay.
Professional support, Azure products and services documentation, online self-help documentation, white papers, and community support forum. It's the same as here.
Yes, but 24/7. I'm not confusing. Let me explain because I
24/7 means that it's a website that is always open. That's what it means.
Yes, but regarding your exam, I check. The question is, which of the following support plan gives you access to best practice information, health status and notifications, and 24/7 access to billing information at the lowest possible cost? So I checked standard because it's that we have here that I study and was incorrect, was saying no, that the answer is basic. So I'm a little confused about that.
Okay. What exam was that? 1, 2, or 3?
The one exam. This is just to clarify, sorry.
Yeah, I understand. Let me see.
In my case was question number 15. Yes, that. So I click standard and say incorrect. So
Which of the following support because you access the best
Yes.
practice information, health status, and notification, and 24/7 access to
Saving access.
billing information at the lowest possible. Okay. All of them. I mean, this is something that, I mean, it's free. It's free for the 4 plans, right?
Okay.
Okay, but the lowest cost, it is obviously basic. It's a stupid question. I mean, I think this is not. I didn't create this exam.
But maybe the answer is because the question is 24/7 access to billing information and not 24/7 technical support, right?
I believe that all of them have billing.
24/7 billing, but technical support is only in a standard and higher.
Yeah, the technical support is developer and higher.
It's a standard and higher, but 24/7 access to billing is all of them.
Developer, from developer up, developer standard, professional, direct, and premier, they all have support, technical support, because they have business hours access to support engineers. That's technical support.
Okay, yes.
Okay, the basic one is it doesn't have any technical support, but billing information, they all have access to the billing information. But the lowest cost, well, I think it's a tricky question. It's a tricky question. I would have created this question this way. I wouldn't. I mean, I would put something else here.
Yes, maybe the tricking is to read that this access to bill is 24/7 access to billing information, and
no,
that you have to read it.
I don't think that's the keyword. The keyword is the lowest cost.
Yeah, but it is 24/7 technical support. The lowest possible cost is standard.
Yeah, but all the plans have access to billing information.
Okay, so that's the tricky.
Yeah, all the plans
very
have
well that is not
whatever the basic has, the other ones have too.
Okay, got it.
But it's the lowest possible cost. If there's a cost involved, the one that is the lowest is the basic one.
Okay.
It's something that you have to understand is whatever the basic has, the other ones have to.
Yes.
Okay. So these are alternative support channels. Stack Overflow is something that developers use all the time to know questions to their to know answers to their questions and technically. Okay, they have the Microsoft Developer Network, Azure Forums. I personally don't like forums. Sometimes they're messy, but sometimes they're helpful. Okay, I like Stack Overflow better. There's always someone that has an answer on Stack Overflow. Sometimes the people on Stack Overflow, they think that they speak in Chinese instead of plain language, and they give solutions that are so complex. They say, what in the world is this? So, but still helpful. It's a very good resource to go to whenever you have questions. Microsoft Azure General Feedback is the feedback that people give here. When you click in this section here, where's the portal? Okay. This section here where you see this guy, this happy face here, that you send your feedback, right? So some people send feedback that you can see there. And Azure Support, that's a Twitter channel. I'm not much of a Twitter lover, but they have a Twitter thing. Okay. So Knowledge Center, searchable database that contains support questions and answers from a community of Azure experts, developers, customers, and users. This is so helpful because here you may find answers to your questions because, these are the experts talking about a specific matter that may be the answer to your problem, okay? That's another resource. the service level agreements, right? SLAs. Here we have the service levels agreements. They document the specific terms that define Azure performance standards. So this is what set the standards for the performance of your services. If they say that an availability zone has a 99.99% of uptime, then they have to comply with that. If they don't comply with that, they give you a credit for your services. So that is how confident Azure is of their performance, that they will give you a credit if they don't live up to their standards. All right. SLAs define Microsoft's commitment to an Azure service or product. Individual SLAs are available for each Azure product and service. Okay. For example, availability is set to have 99.95, right? Every single service has a service level agreement. They also define what happens if a service or product fails to meet the designated availability commitment. They will refund you, will give you credit. For example, service level agreements, if it is 99.9, the downtime per month is going to be 43.2 minutes, which is pretty low, less than an hour in 30 days. So multiply 30 days by 24, and then you're going to know how low it is, because it's less than an hour. So it's just 75% of an hour, more or less. Okay, so 3/4 of an hour. Downtime per year is going to be 8 hours and 8.76 hours. So in a year, multiply, 24 by 30 and then by 12, and you're going to know how low that is. 99.95 is 21.6 minutes per month, right? And that will be 4.38 hours a year. And 99.99, which is availability zones, 4.32 minutes a month and 52.56 minutes a year. That's super, 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 super good, right? And if they cannot offer this, if something happens, they will compensate you for that, okay? So this is what they know are 3 nines. This is 4 nines, right? Now you have something composite SLAs. If the app service has, this is when you have two services working together, an application and a database, right? So if the app service is 99.95 SLA and the Azure, because every single service has their own SLA. If the database is 99.99, what is the composite SLA for your application? You just multiply that, right? You multiply that, and then you get an average here, 99.94. Right? So that will be that. Okay. So you move the point to the left two places to the left, and then put 0.9995 multiplied by 0.9999, and then you get 99.94%. That's going to be the composite, the combination of these two services, right? That's going to be their commitment with you. These two guys working together. Okay. So notice the composite is lower than the individual SLAs. It's an average. And improve the SLA by creating independent fallback paths. Okay. So, when something fails, you go back to the previous version, right? And then you can improve that, right? You don't lose, resources and data, anything like that. Guys, I think it's 8. Let's have a 10 minutes break, right? And I will see you at 8:10. Okay, guys, it's 8:10. So the application SLA, customers should determine what the SLA is needed for their application. That's something that have to start from you guys. You decide what SLA you want for your application. You have to know your workload requirements and usage patterns. You have to design for resiliency and availability, establish availability metrics, mean time to recover, MTTR, and mean time between failures, MTBF. Okay, you have to know all that. Establish recovery metrics, recovery time objective, RTO, and recovery point objective, RPO. We talked about that before. Implement resiliency strategies and building in availability performance. Okay. So those are the things that the customers have to think about when they are determining the SLA for their application. Service lifecycle in Azure. So there are public and private preview features, right? So Microsoft offer previews of Azure features for evaluation purposes. Okay. So with Azure previews, you can test beta and other pre-release features, product, services, software, and regions. Sometimes Azure previews their resources before they send it to the general public. Okay. Before they are available generally to everybody, sometimes they do some previews privately and publicly for people to test their resources, okay, and services. So a private view is an Azure feature available to certain Azure customers for evaluation purposes. It's only for a select group of customers, not everybody. Whereas the public preview is for all customers of Azure to evaluate, right, before they launch it to the general availability. Okay. So there are some preview features that are not covered by customer support. Okay, so not all of them are covered. Okay, I have here a link that I can share with you guys. Okay, let me put it in the chat. This is about Azure previews. So accessing preview features, right? Preview new functionality and features for an existing service. And preview new services. So although you may be using the Azure service in production, the preview feature or functionality may not yet be ready for production deployments. So make sure you're aware of any limitations around its use before deploying to production. Okay, so that's something that you guys or someone that is developing we need to consider. Okay, so probably that preview feature is not ready for production yet. Okay, so it's only intended for development and non-production environments. So your account, you will see here, and then in the marketplace, you will see here, you have private offers available. Click here to see. Okay, some previews that you can see, and assess the, how this service is performed. So you have private previews and public previews. Accessing Azure Port of Preview. If you click here on the happy face in your account, then you can see Microsoft Azure Preview. I believe that if you do that now, you will not see anything. Okay, because we have a free account. Okay, so you can see preview. Probably you see something if you just type this URL in your browser. And then you may be able to see something like this. So you provide feedback on new features such as full screen, blades, performance, navigation, notifications, and accessibility improvements. Okay. And check out the Azure Portal Feedback Forum for updates and things like that. Let me give you here the forum chat. The forum, I'll put in the chat. That's the forum URL. Okay. The general availability, new features are evaluated and tested. Feature bugs go through a life cycle of new, active, resolved, and fixed. Okay. General availability provides successfully tested features to all Azure customers, and Azure blog announcements is a good source of information. So this is the final step of the process after a preview. When it's been, is being resolved, fixed, now it's active, and all of these guys here, all of these steps here, then it becomes available generally for the entire Azure population customers. And then the Azure blog announcements is a good source of information. Okay. Monitoring, service, and features updates. Azure Updates provides information about the Azure product services and features and product roadmaps and availability. View details about all Azure updates and their status, and browse and search for updates. Subscribe to Azure Updates notifications by RSS. This is very similar to AWS. If you want to know what's new in AWS, when they launch a new service, there's one section that you can subscribe to RSS. I don't know. I've tried that. For me, it doesn't work. I don't know why. And I haven't even tried harder to know why. But this is a way to know what's new in Azure. Okay. So review questions is what we're going to do on Wednesday, like we always do after we finish a module. Okay. So guys, do you have any questions?